All who hate me love death. All right? If you don't love wisdom, you love death. You love the death of your marriage. You love the death of your finances. You love the death of your health. You love the death of your friendships. All who hate me love death. It might be physical death. All who hate wisdom, all of them, whether you're a fool or a simple person, you love death.
It's the word and none of that hate gon' work. Hey,
Hold up.
now I don't know what you heard, but don't believe anyone that can't show you the word.
Okay, going through Proverbs. We're up to Proverbs 8 today. Okay, from Proverbs 1 through 9 is laying down the groundwork of why wisdom is important. Okay, from Proverbs 10 all the way to the end, 31, is just wise sayings. Because if you don't have the right approach to the wise sayings, you won't really appreciate them, you won't incorporate it. So the first 9 books is very important for you to get the right mindset. All right, and today we're going to talk about wisdom. Now, in the beginning of chapter 8, wisdom is going to be personified as, to me, it sounds like a woman preacher, like a woman evangelist out in the street. Go to the slide. It reminds me of this lady over here, and there are large crowds, and she's crying out, trying to give them wisdom. So this is what the imagery that Solomon is going to use of wisdom, that she's a woman crying out in the streets. All right, give me verse 1. Does not wisdom cry out? Does not understanding raise her voice? You know, just like that evangelist, she's crying out and raising her voice. Next verse. She standeth in the top of high places, by the way, in the places of the paths. So in other words, she's in a place of preeminence, where the crowds are, where the people are. That's where she's at. She's not hidden. Wisdom is out there in the public, raising her voice. Next verse. She cries at the gates. Again, she's crying. You know, that word crying means to yell. Like, you know, it's not, she's just talking, you know, let's get with, no. She's crying out, saying, and keep, let me see. She cried, no, go back. She cries at the gate, at the entry of the city. Again, the entry of the city is where a lot of people would come in. It was like a funnel where people enter the city. So that's where she goes, where the crowds are. And a wise evangelist would do the same thing. She cries at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. So where there's, and think of it like a Walmart, you know, when the doors open, that's where everybody's flowing into. That's where she's at. She's not in the back parking lot area where there's nobody. She's in a very preeminent place. All right, verse 4. And this is what she says. To you, and she's saying this crying out. She's not just talking. To you, O men, I call, and my cry is to the children of men. All right, she's crying out. Verse 5. O you simple ones, understand wisdom. Remember, a simple person is one that doesn't have any wisdom, and because they don't have it, they suffer the fate of fools. So wisdom, the woman wisdom is crying out, saying to the simple ones, understand wisdom, get that knowledge. Don't just walk around clueless, naive, and gullible all the time. Oh, you simple ones, understand wisdom, and you fools. All right, so there's a simple, and now she's going to address the fools. And you fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Because remember, the fool has wisdom. They know better. They just don't want to apply it. But wisdom, the woman wisdom is saying, you fools, understand. Oh, you got the information. You got the knowledge. Now walk in its understanding. Stop being foolish. Verse 6. Hear, for I speak excellent things. You know, that's what she's doing. She's speaking wisdom. Wisdom is an excellent thing. It's not something that we should just like, whatever. That's just Bible, all boring. No, she's speaking excellent things. And from my lips will come what is right. You know, that's what wisdom does. She speaks what is right. It might not feel good. It might not agree with what you think, but it's right. So we should always go with wisdom, not try to fight wisdom, because out of her mouth, she speaks what is right. For my mouth shall speak truth. All right? Jesus said that that his word is true. Thy word is true. So she's speaking from the word. If she speaks on the word, you can't argue the word. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. She doesn't justify sin. She doesn't minimize sin. She doesn't say, well, everybody struggles, everybody's a quote unquote sin. No, in her lips, her mouth, wickedness is an abomination to her lips. It's like she won't even mention it. All right, that's how you know somebody's in the truth and somebody's wise. Somebody that likes to minimize, trying to say, whatever, we all fall short. They take scriptures out of context that make it seem like we're supposed to sin every day. They're not wise. Right? Verse 8. All the words of my mouth are righteous. They're right. Whatever she's saying is right. There is nothing twisted or crooked in them. In other words, when she says something, what comes out of her mouth, there's no twisting or crookedness. It is what it is. It's the true doctrine. Because somebody could take a verse out and say, see, this is what the Bible says, but really they're either twisting it or they're ignoring other passages. Out of her mouth comes what is right. Verse 9, they are all plain to him who understands. I always say, when you read the Bible, read what you see, believe it. Don't fight it. Because a lot of us have been taught things, and then when we find a verse that goes against what we've been taught, all of a sudden we want to make it say something it doesn't say. Wisdom says that they are all plain to him who understands. What wisdom says is plain. There's no confusion. God is not an author of confusion. What he said is what it is. So just believe it. And just accept it. A lot of people trust me especially when it comes to certain doctrines. You show them a verse and they're already and trying to find a way to twist it. They're all plain to him understands, and right to those who find knowledge. If you're finding knowledge, you realize what wisdom is saying is right. Even if it goes against what you thought, you'd be like, what, it is right. It is right. It might not be what I thought, but in the end, I see that in the end, it is the right thing to do. All right, next verse. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than gold, than choice gold. All right, that's how we got to view wisdom. It's got to be more important than silver and choice gold. Stop worrying about trying to be the next big thing, the next multi-millionaire, billionaire. No. Wisdom is saying, receive my instruction. Receive, that's more, and not silver. Forget silver and forget gold. Seek knowledge. That's the most important thing. Next verse. For wisdom is better than rubies. Rubies is like a gem, and it's a beautiful gem. It's red, but he's saying that wisdom is better than that. That's the mindset you got to have. If your mindset is still on the world, the Tesla and that house and that yacht. No, wisdom is better than all those things, better than rubies. And all the things that may be desired are not compared to it. Again, so you think of anything that you might desire, it doesn't compare to knowledge. Okay? Verse 12. I, wisdom, the woman wisdom, dwell with prudence. So think of prudence like a sister to her. Prudence. Prudence means that you're very cautious. You don't just act. You're very thoughtful in how you move in life. You don't just rush to a conclusion. So that's what wisdom dwells with. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and I find knowledge and discretion. That's what wisdom does. It gives you knowledge, things you know, and discretion. All of a sudden, you're very sensitive to things around you. Before you didn't know. Like, remember last week about the simple one that went by the adulterous way? If he had knowledge, he would have been like, wait a minute, I heard there's an adulteress over there. Let me take the long way around. But because he had no knowledge, he went down that path and he was destroyed. But wisdom, it'll give you discretion. You'll be very sensitive to that. Verse 13. Now, the fear of the Lord is hatred of evil. All right? You know, anybody who says they're a believer and they don't hate evil, they minimize it, they justify it. Sometimes they're in sin and say, well, you know, we all fall short. You know, it's hard for me. This is how I deal with it. They have no fear of God. The fear of the Lord is hatred of evil. They hate evil. Somebody who fears the Lord. Pride and arrogancy and the way of evil and perverted speech I hate. That's wisdom hates those four things. She hates pride. She hates arrogance. You know, somebody who's not only proud, but they walk around like, you know, Mr. Big Shot. And the way of evil, you know, they're walking down wicked ways. They're walking in sin, adultery, fornication, drunkenness, you know, homosexuality. They walk in the evil way, and perverted speech. Perverted means like they twist it. They got perverted speech. Wisdom hates those four things. She hates that. All right. Verse 14. Now, wisdom says, I have counsel and sound wisdom. That's what wisdom has. She counsel, you know, if you ever been through life, if you go through life and you need, like, you don't know what you got to do, you go to wisdom and she'll give you counsel and she'll give you wisdom, sound wisdom, not just wisdom. Because you could get wisdom out, quote unquote, wisdom in the world, but it's not sound. That word sound means healthy wisdom. You know, I think of people that they're married and then they're having issues in their marriage. Then somebody says, you know what? Just leave them. You can find somebody better. That's quote unquote wisdom, but it's not sound wisdom. You want to have sound wisdom. That's what wisdom gives you. I have insight. I have strength. In other words, insight means you see things that you might not have saw before. You know, but that's what wisdom gives you. It gives you things that you never seen. It gives you a little bit like you could see ahead, and strength. You know, all of a sudden you feel like you could do this. You know, that's what wisdom does. It gives you just strength. By me, kings reign. Talking about good kings. Wisdom says, by me, kings reign, and rulers decree what is just. You know, when there's a wise king, the land is blessed. It prospers. You know, things go well. There's peace. By me, kings reign, and rulers decree what is just. By me, princes rule, and nobles, all who govern justly. That's the key word, justly. They got to govern justly, meaning they got to do what's right. They got to do justice. You know, even if it's somebody within their realm that they love, that they did something wrong, they got to do justice. They don't show nepotism or favoritism. They do justice. That's a wise king. That's a mark of a wise king. Verse 17. I love those who love me. So wisdom loves those who love wisdom. And those who seek me early will find me. All right? That's the thing. You got to seek wisdom early. You should not be seeking it, I'll seek it later. If you're seeking it later, then you're not going to find them. You're not going to find wisdom. You got to seek it early. You should be waking up in the morning and say, okay, I need to get wisdom. I need to get understanding. Now put it off, because you're not going to find it later on. Riches and honor are with me. So if you walk in wisdom, you're going to get rich. You're going to have honor, from people around you. They're with wisdom. Enduring wealth and righteousness. It says enduring wealth. That's the thing. You're not going to have wealth. You ever hear about people that play the lottery? That's foolishness. They play lottery, and then within a few years, they have all these millions of dollars. They basically squandered it all. They don't have enduring wealth because they don't have wisdom. Because if they have wisdom, they'll be like, you know what? I'm going to take this money and invest in some stock or bond or maybe buy some property. That's enduring wisdom and righteousness. So you do the right things. You do the right things by your husband, your wife, your kids, your neighbor, your country. You do what's right. Next verse 19. My fruit is better than gold. So the byproduct of you walking in wisdom is better than gold. You know, when you walk in wisdom, you know, for example, I think of Steve Jobs. He was filthy rich. But you know what? What was the fruit of it? He probably got a lot of stress. He wasn't thinking about his health, and he died a relatively old, young man. I'm probably in his mid-50s, but with all that money, all that quote unquote gold, what was the benefit? What was the fruit of it? Early death? Wisdom's fruit is better than gold, even fine gold, even billions of dollars like Steve Jobs. Forget gold, billions of dollars is better than that. And my yield than choice silver. So her returns. So in other words, when you're walking in wisdom, you're not only going to walk in wisdom if you teach others to walk in wisdom. For example, your children, they're going to walk in wisdom, and they're going to, their yield is going to be better than choice silver. So it's not only going to benefit you, it'll benefit others because it's yielding more. It's not only yielding in you, it's yielding in others. I walk in the way of righteousness, right? So that's wisdom. So if somebody's walking in the way of wickedness, they're not wise. They can say, oh, I walk with wisdom. No, you don't. I walk in the way of righteousness, in the path of justice. She stands up for what's right. She doesn't overlook it or say, it's none of my business. No, she walks in the path of righteousness. If wisdom sees something wrong, she'll intervene. She won't, say, well, that's not my problem. I'm too busy. I got too much things. No, she walks in the path of justice. Next verse. That I may cause those that love me to inherit substance. So if you love wisdom, you're going to inherit things. Now, a lot of people like to chase the thing rather than, the source of the thing. The source of the thing that will get you the thing is wisdom. And she will cause you to inherit it. Don't worry about it. If you grew up in a lousy situation, as long as you walking in wisdom, you're going to get substance. And I will fill their treasures. So they got nothing in their box. Wisdom will fill it eventually. If you're not one that is hasty to get rich, wisdom will get you treasures. Now here is going to shift. Now wisdom is going to be portrayed as a being that was with God in the beginning and made the heavens and the earth. And when we go through the scriptures, Jesus is personified as the wisdom of God. Give me the next. Wait, let me go back here. It says, the Lord possessed me. Talk about wisdom. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his ways, before his works of old. All right? So he's saying God possessed wisdom before he made anything. All right, give me the next slide. And we read about Jesus in two places that he's personified as the wisdom of God. In 1 Corinthians 1 verse 24, it says this, but unto them which are called both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God. So you see, if we go back to that verse in Proverbs, it says that he was with God in the beginning, when he made the heavens and the earth. And here's another one. This is when Jesus was talking to the Jews and he was rebuking them because they didn't believe in him. And he used an example of the Queen of Sheba. And let me read. Luke 11:31. The Queen of the South, or the Queen of Sheba, will rise up at the judgment with the men of this generation and condemn them. For she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. Right? So this woman had to get up for maybe 3 or 6 months, travel just to hear Solomon, who asked God for wisdom. And behold, something greater than Solomon is here. So she came, she traveled all the way to hear the wisdom that God gave to Solomon. But here, the wisdom of God is there, and these guys don't want to hear it. So he's saying, you know what? She's going to condemn that generation. But the thing is, Jesus is saying that he's greater than the wisdom that Solomon had. He has greater wisdom because he is, like we read in 1 Corinthians 1:24, that he is the power of God and the wisdom of God. He's the one that probably gave Solomon the wisdom. And here he is in Jerusalem, and the people don't want to hear him. While this poor lady from Ethiopia had to travel to hear Solomon. So that's why she's going to condemn that generation. But let's continue. Next verse. Talking about wisdom with God, being with God. I was set up from everlasting. So wisdom was before time. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever the earth was. So that's how old wisdom is. When there was no depths, I was brought forth. So when there was nothing, that's when wisdom was, brought forth. It doesn't mean it was born, because it says from everlasting. It was brought forth. When there was no fountains abounding with water. Next verse. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. So before God created anything, wisdom was there. Verse 26. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. So before even God made any dust, next verse. When he established the heavens, I was there. Wisdom was there with God. When he, God, drew a circle on the face of the deep. It's talking face of the deep, a circle on the face of the deep. It's not a ball. He made a circle around the face of the deep. But let me keep going. When he made firm the skies above. The Bible makes it clear that the firmament is not just air. The firmament, there's something up there that's firm. That's what the book says. And this is what wisdom is saying, talking about when God made the heavens and the earth. He said, when he made firm the skies above, when he established the fountains of the deep. Remember in the Noah's time, it said that the fountains of the deep blew up and flooded the earth. It was not just rain. It was the fountains of the deep. And it said that the windows of heaven opened up and the waters came down from the sky. It was not rain. The window, it was like a door that, you ever seen those baseball stadiums that have a retractable dome? That's what God did. He just retracted it and then water came down from heaven above. But here he said that he established the fountains of the deep. Next verse. When he assigned to the sea its limit. So the reason why water doesn't just overflow the continents is because God established a limit so that the waters might not transgress his command when he marked out the foundations of the earth. Again, the Bible talks about the earth having a foundation. It doesn't talk about the earth spinning around with nothing underneath. There's a foundation. Just like this house is a foundation, the earth has a foundation. Then talk about wisdom, then I was beside him. It reminds me of John 1, when it says that he was with him, talking about the word of God, that he was with him in the beginning, that all things was made by him and for him, and without him nothing was made. It says, then I was beside God. Wisdom was beside God like a master worker. Now, I'm going to jump to Ephesians 3:9, where it talks about this, that Jesus was with God making the heavens and the earth. It says this, and to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world has been hid in God, who created all things. God created all things by Jesus Christ. That's what the book says, that God made the heavens and the earth by Jesus Christ, through wisdom, through his word. All right, let me go back to verse 30. Then I was beside him like a master worker, and I was daily his delight. God delighted in wisdom. He loves wisdom. He loved his only begotten son too. Rejoicing before him always. So wisdom was always rejoicing before God. All right, next verse 31. Rejoicing in his inhabited world and delighting in the children of men. Wisdom delighted in this beautiful creation, everything that God made, the animals, the birds. He rejoiced in the inhabited world and delighted in children of men. Wisdom loved mankind. Wisdom was like, no, wisdom loves mankind. Now here's Solomon talking to his sons. And now, O sons, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways. So he's saying, look, I'm walking in wisdom. You walk in the same way like me, because you'll be blessed. Verse 33. Hear instruction and be wise. So you got to hear, and then you will be wise. And do not neglect it. Right? We cannot neglect this. We cannot say, I don't have time for this. Maybe tomorrow. I'm tired. Do not neglect instruction or wisdom. Blessed is the one who listens to me. All right? So if you listen, you'll be blessed. Watching daily at my doors. Let me keep it. Watching daily at my doors. Waiting beside my doors. I put Apple Store. It reminds me of when the new iPhone comes out and you see people lined up for days waiting at the door just so they could get the latest iPhone. Here, Solomon says that blessed is the one who listens to me, watching daily, every day. It's not a wait, it's Sunday. We're going to do something, for God for an hour and a half. Watching daily. At my doors, waiting. They're like waiting besides my door. Like those people waiting for the iPhones. They're like that. That's the mindset and approach you got to have to wisdom. You should not be putting it off. You should not say, well, I did it yesterday. It's not Sunday. I only do it on Sundays. You should be watching daily, waiting besides the door. Next verse. For whoever finds me finds life. If you find wisdom, you're going to find life. You're going to have a blessed life. You're going to have a peaceful life. You're going to have a rich, honorable life. Whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord. So things that you're not even asking for, God's just going to bless you all of a sudden. You weren't asking for money. You weren't asking for a promotion. You weren't asking for your son's promotion or some school or something. You're gonna obtain favor from the Lord. All right, those are the benefits of pursuing wisdom. But the next verse tells you of those that don't seek wisdom. And let me tell you something. If you don't remember anything out of this chapter, just remember this verse. All right. But he who fails to find me injures himself. Right? If you're not finding wisdom, if you don't want to apply wisdom, you want to be a fool. You've heard the Bible all your life, but you don't want to apply it. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to hurt yourself physically, emotionally, financially. You might die. And like the next verse says, but he who fails to find me injures himself. All who hate me love death. All right? If you don't love wisdom, you love death. You love the death of your marriage. You love the death of your finances. You love the death of your health. You love the death of your friendships. All who hate me love death. It might be physical death. All who hate wisdom, all of them, whether you're a fool or a simple person, you love death. So now, what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose life or are you going to choose death? It's up to you. The way you choose life in this world is get wisdom. The way you choose death is don't get wisdom or have it because somebody's, you're like a child of a wise family and you get the wisdom, but you don't apply it. That makes you a fool. Guess what? All who hate wisdom love death. Bottom, period, end of story. So we'll end there. All right. So these first 9 chapters have laid down the groundwork of how we should approach wisdom. So we're going to go to the sayings. Think of the sayings like I said before, like the fortune cookies where you open it up, it has a little saying. Those are the sayings. But this gives us the mindset. So when we read the sayings, we say, okay, I got to apply this. I got to know it and then apply it. I got to treasure it, wait at his doors daily. What else? Treasure it more than silver and gold. That's your approach to wisdom. Not just, okay, we read, let's go. I just want to go play video games. I just want to go to bed. I'm tired. No. These first 9 chapters are very important because from chapter 9 all the way to 31, you're going to get a lot of knowledge. But if you don't apply it, you're not going to get wisdom. And this is what chapters 1 through 9 was trying to pound in your head. Get understanding. Get knowledge and get understanding equals wisdom. All right. So with that, I'll finish. Thank you. Anybody has a question? I'm sorry.